Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to my UE4 tutorials. Last episode I didn't really say what we were gonna do, but I figured it out. This chicken is very floaty. Alright, we're gonna do stats. We got our HUD working and everything. So we're gonna make some stats for our character here. These are just gonna be some basic variables. So let's see, we want to be able to have a stat that you can level up that will change your total health. Vitality, let's go with that. Basic RPG stuff going on here. Vitality, endurance for stamina. Agility for speed, and that's all we really have set up, so that's all I'm going to make. And we need to make a new category. Stats. Stats. Agility. Stats. Cool. Collapse that. Now first things first, we should probably get some default values. Probably 1 for all of them. Would work excellently. Awesome. Check. Done. Now, we need to make sure that our max... I should really move stamina into status. And then I'll move current health into status. Status. And status. Cool. I just wanted all these to be together. So we want our max health and our max stamina to be based off of our vitality and endurance. So let's do that. Here's our event begin play. We could do it in our starting stats, couldn't we? Now keep in mind we would have to do it before all this, because we're going to be changing our max health and max stamina. And we're going to be able to get these stats from like a save game or something. So vitality default value is 1. We want to get this. Get. And we're going to be setting our max health based off of that. So how do I want to do this? It was 100 before. So let's... Well, that's not an add. Let's multiply float by float. Let's get our vitality times 10. And then add that to 100. Cool. So when our vitality is 1, we'll have 110 HP. So let's just add it to 90. So in our level 1, it'll be 100. But when we put another level in it, basically we'll get 10 more health. This factor right here is how much more health we'll get per level of vitality. Endurance is next. Let's get this, and we'll be setting our max stamina. And we're going to do something similar here. So, plus, not plus, but I'll keep that there, times, multiply, float by float, into here. Replace it, please, maybe. Do you wanna do that for me? There you go. Plus 100. And let's do something like 15 for stamina. So this means that once you level up your endurance, you'll be able to run for a longer period of time. Great. Now, agility is going to affect our walk speed and our run speed. So let's get agility. And we have these set up in our thing here. So we'll set walk speed. And we'll set our run speed. I need to space these. One. Perfect. So our agility times something, and our normal walk speed is 400, so I'll just add it to 400 because this small numbers don't really matter in this case. I'm going to move this up here, make sure it's spaced right. It is not. Oops. Guess I'll put it down here. Yeah, that makes sense. And we'll multiply it by, like, it shouldn't really affect the walk speed, maybe 2.5. And then since we're using agility again, we'll copy paste, and I think this one I can put here. Yeah. And then plug it in to run speed, but let's have it affect 4. So 4 times the agility plus 400 will be the run speed. And we plug this back in over here. And to test this, we can print our max stamina before and after this logic. Yep. So let's do that. Event begin play. Let's go. So you see it was 100 and then it was 115. So it was 100 before we added in our endurance, and then it was 115 after. And because we were smart, we don't have to change anything else. I'll show you what I mean in a second once I get this set back up. Our sprinting logic is what I was talking about. Our tick sprinting logic. So since we clamp this to our max stamina, no matter what our max stamina is, it'll always regen back up to that, no more, no less. Perfect. Oh, and also with our sprinting logic, if you see when we play the game, if we're adding input, we're moving, but if we're like in the air, if we're falling, you see we also lose stamina. So what I'm going to do is add another and boolean. Forget what I got. Is on ground. Is moving on ground, which is built into the character movement component. That's just a little bit more logic there, so we don't use stamina when we're not when we're just falling. So I use stamina now, but I'm not moving on the ground. I don't use it. Cool. It's exactly what I wanted. Alright, now that was basically our stats, but how does the player know what his or her stats are? Well, for that, we're going to add another slate. I'm going to put this in a folder. Health. Ampersands, do those fit into folder names? Nope. Health plus stamina. We'll put all this stuff in there. And then we'll make a new one. Stats screen. Now, stats will be different. We're just going to do the same thing we did before. Stats will be different because we don't want them to be on the screen all the time. So we're going to do some animations. But first, we can set up a vertical box with 3 horizontal boxes inside of them, and each of those is going to have 2 text boxes in them. Cool. And we're going to select them and fill. Cool. So in each horizontal box we have editable text 1. And this will be the stat we want to display. So let's do vitality. And that looks disgusting, doesn't it? And it zooms all weird. We don't want that at all. So we're going to go to this foreground color. Select white, that'll be the color of, oops, no. Yep, that's the color of the text. So we want that to be white, the background color. Turn the alpha channel all the way down to 0. So now it's just see-through, and that's the only thing we really need to worry about. Now the other text box in here is where we get fancy. Fill 0.5. That didn't do anything. Okay. They can share it. Vitality, space colon. And we're going to do the same thing here. Background color, just turn the alpha all the way down. Foreground color will be completely white. Compile it. Now, in the text here, we're going to hit the bind button and say create binding. Now you see our return value here is text, but before we do that, we need to cast to, what did we call our character? PC underscore player. Cast to PC player. Get player character. This is going to get the player character at index 0, which is us. We did similar things with our other functions, right? This one. Yeah, it's just the same thing, but instead of doing the dividing, we're just going to get the stat. So it's easier. We're going to get vitality, and we're going to turn it into a text field. And we're going to rename this function get vitality so we know what it does. And I'm also going to change the font. I don't know if I put that in here. I did not put it in the... I don't know if I can provide you with this font or not. But this is just for me because I like the look. Download. That's not what I wanted. Oh wait, no, what am I doing? Here it is. Alright, so in content, stat screen, I'm gonna drag this font in. It's called 8-bit pixel, look it up. Wouldn't be that hard to make if you really wanted it. But for now I'm just gonna use it. And then in our designer, over here in the fonts, we can select it. And I'll say size like 35 for about everything. And I want that to be here too, so I'll select 8-bit pixel, size 35 font, compile and save. And then, if you remember where we did our other UI stuffs, we're going to have to create this widget and add it to the viewport. So we're going to copy this, paste it, because we are efficient, not lazy. And then instead of health stamina, we're going to select stats. Easy as that. Once we do that, should be good to go. Yep, you see right there, our vitality. It doesn't change yet because, well, we don't have that set up. And I want to make this bigger. I'm pretty sure that the text is bound to how big the box is. That is a lie. I just wanted to make sure it looked good. I closed that, didn't I? Yeah. I don't think it was important. I forget what it was, though. Anyway, so we need to make this something more like 50. And now, real quick, I'm going to see how that looks. That looks a little bit better, a little bit more readable. So I'm just going to do the same thing for the other two horizontal boxes. So this one will be endurance with a space colon, 8-bit pixel, 50, foreground color, white, background color. Actually, you know what? Copy, paste, and then click and drag it into the horizontal box. There, that was a lot easier. Endurance. Does this also bind? That does not bind. Good. And we need to set this horizontal box to fill. I should set these to 1. So they're a 1-to-1. And then we're just gonna paste again, drag it in. Instead of vitality, this will be agility, space colon. And then I need to, this needs to be fill as well. Fill, 1-to-1-to-1. I'm going to bind these. Basically, you just copy the same nodes, paste them over, click and drag, instead of vitality. Which one was this? Endurance. So first we'll rename it to get endurance. We can also do this to print out the total stamina, or the current stamina and the current health on the screen, if we wanted to. I'm not going to do that right just yet. So as you can see now, our endurance is 1 as well. And then we'll do it for agility. Bind, create binding. Paste the nodes in. Drag. Delete this. Get agility, yeah. Hook these back up. Perfect. This is what I did. Stats, Take it away. That would have glitched it again, which I don't want because this episode's almost over. But now you can see they're all nice in there. And I can, oh no. There it goes. It's done. It's done its duty. It's out for the count. Well, anyway, this is my test project. This is what I do before I add stuff. So this is what I'm going to do next. I'm going to add this animation. There's a little sneak peek of what we're going to be doing in the later episodes. While I pull this up again. Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit longer because I want to show you how to set those up right now. Stats screen, stats. Okay, and I also didn't like how they were spaced out, so I select my vertical box, make it a little bit shorter so they're closer together. Ooh, actually, I don't think I want these in a vertical box. Good point, me. Actually, yes, I do. Undo that. It should still be possible if I make... this is simulating now, stop that. These good, spacing, yeah. Okay. Now, this horizontal box. Cool, I can go negative. Alright. And I can keyframe. Okay, so right here in the bottom left, you hit a new animation, and this is stats on screen. And we'll make another one called stats off screen. How wide is this box? Let's say 520. Okay, so for stats on screen, we're going to select our first horizontal box. Make sure our cursor is at 0. Make the translation negative 520. Let's make it negative 530. And then the little button right here says adds keyframe for this property for the current animation. You're going to click that, and we'll get a keyframe down here. And then I did it half a second later. You can hit 0, and then hit another keyframe. So now as we go through this animation, it'll slide from here all the way out to where it's supposed to be. Cool. And this is relative to the horizontal or the vertical box. So if I move the vertical box, the animations will stay the same. Now we're going to do this for all of them, but I like to offset them by 0.2 of a second because I'm weird like that. Insert your keyframe. Go until 0.7, hit 0. Insert the next keyframe, and then select your agility box. Get your cursor back to 0.4 of a second. Go to negative 530. You can mess around with curves in this too, but I don't want to do that. These are just simple animations for the stat screen. Cool. So as we go through this, at 0 they're not on screen, but as you go through it, they end up all aligned perfect. Now for stats off screen, at 0, this first horizontal box is going to be at 0, so make sure you make that. Ooh, never mind, hold on. Delete that. How do you delete that? Select it and hit delete. We want the agility to go off first. Right? Doesn't really matter, it's just personal preference, but I'm going to make the agility go off screen first. So make sure that's at 0. Good half a second. Negative 530. Make another keyframe. Go back to 0.2, select your endurance box, 0, add keyframe, go to 2 past that, and then negative 530. Insert a keyframe. And then 1, 2, 1, 2. Select your vitality box, 0, insert keyframe. And then to 0.4, or point, whatever that is. Go to negative 530 and insert the keyframe. Now, we have these animations set up. We know they work. If we scrub through them, they go off screen. These go on the screen. But how are we going to get these to work? For now, all we need to do is add some stuff to here. Event graph. So very similar to we have like this set up. I want to, let's say, C for stats. So C. Boom. And I also want to make a new Boolean called is stats on screen. It's not good grammar, but I like to start my booleans with is. Default will be false. Good. So we also need to be able to reference our GUI components. So I'm going to promote these to variables. Promote to variable. The variable will be health slash stamina. Oh yeah, we have to set those, don't we? Let's get this a little bit more organized. All right, put this down here. And then promote to variable, very similar method. And then make this one named stats. Cool. So now I'm going to go back to an event graph here. When it's pressed, first thing we want to do is branch. So if is stats on screen. So if that is true, the stats are on screen. We want to get our stats, play animation. So if the stats are on the screen, we want to select get animation, get stats off screen. And then if that's false, well, we want to play animation, get stats on screen. Boom. Hook it up. And then also we want to make sure we keep our Boolean up to date. Stats on screen, we need to set this after each of these. If we are getting the stats off the screen, that'll set it to false. If we're putting the stats on the screen, this will set it to true. It's very sloppy node work, but that's okay. This is a simple toggle system. Now, what was I going to do? Oh, make sure that they're set by default here to -530. That might not. Oh, they are. Okay. So they're not on the screen. We press C. They come onto the screen with our nifty animation. And then we press C again, and they go off the screen. Perfect functionality. If you spam when it gets a little wonky, we could fix that, but actually, we could fix that right now that I think about it. So how long are these animations? They go to... so that's 0.75. Wait. 556,657,75. So 556,657. 0.7 seconds. So that means in our event graph, we can add a delay for 0.7 seconds. Actually, this might not work, but actually, I'm pretty sure it won't work at all. It'll just play the same animation over and over again if we spam it. Yeah, so you have to make sure that it's all the way over, which that actually made it worse. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. But yeah, that's a simple way to get your stats on the screen. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.